ऐसे ही आज हमारे गेस्ट हैं एस के शर्मा जी, संजीव शर्मा जी. ही इज एसोसिएट डायरेक्टर इन DRDO basically, and he has been working on a lot of projects, and he is a PhD in zoology actually. And I would like to invite Mr. Sanjeev for his brief introduction and his life journey, कि किस तरीके से he overcome everything and he joined DRDO to create an impact for the lives of our soldiers. जो हमारे soldiers हैं, जो हमारे लिए लड़ते हैं बॉर्डर पे, उनके लिए किस तरीके से these guys are changing their lives, किस तरह के प्रोडक्ट्स उनके लिए बना रहे हैं. So over to you, Sanjeev sir.
Good morning, Kamalji. I am Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Sharma. I have done my PhD in 1986 when I think you were not even born, from TAU Ludhiana, and after that I joined DRDO in 1990. Previous few years I spent in TAU Ludhiana also, but at that time because the Punjab problem was at its peak, so I tried to get the job out of Punjab at that time. So luckily when I got the job in DRDO, I was very lucky that I will be able to do something for the country. So
Yes sir.
I joined DRDO in 1990, and almost 32 years I have completed.
Oh, oh
And
my God.
during this period, when I joined DRDO, I was at the time in PhD zoology. So at the time I was working on the reproductive physiology part, biochemistry part, all those things I was doing. Then later, when we were going to high altitude in the actual field conditions, we were interacting with the soldiers. So we found that there are many other problems which we thought that we can solve, which are very minor problems, but for them they are very major problems. Suppose they are having lot of snow, but no drinking water. They they, they are having lot of snow, no drinking water. So keeping the water in the liquid form is another problem. Power generation is another problem. There were so many problems. So, and heating device, they were giving so many problems. There were chances of blast, fire, carbon monoxide poisoning. So we thought that we can solve these problems. And with the help of one of my colleagues, he was also having knack for this type of work. So we tried to shift to this side, and we developed a new division, appointed few engineers also, and started working in this direction. And we developed many products, and we got many patents. Technology has been transferred to many firms, and we are getting very good results, which I will discuss in my presentation. So after the presentation, you will be able to discuss with better that what are the products and what are those things.
जी सर, मैं बस इतना पूछना चाहूँगा अभी, सबसे पहले आपने DRDO क्यों ज्वाइन किया? Why you wanted to join DRDO actually?
When
Yes.
I was 86 and I was 20, completed PhD in 86. So at that way I was about 25 years old. At that time, everybody has some feeling that I want to do something for my country. So one was this thing, and second was that I have told you that at the time Punjab problem was at its peak, so I wanted to move out of the Punjab at that time. So that was another reason. So these two reasons made me shift to this side. And when I joined this, my field was totally different, and what I am doing today, that is totally different.
Okay.
So and one, it doesn't mean when we do PhD or everything, it just experience that it's so training that we can do something. We can, but after that, once you are having attitude to do something, you may not be expert in that field. You can come to that side. You can do anything.
Right sir, right. Yes sir. So आपका पहला प्रोडक्ट सर DRDO में क्या था, which you actually worked on?
My first product was which I can show in the form of presentation, because till the time you don't see the product, you can't. Because first product was a Bukhari, which is a heating device. A heating device because at in the high altitude conditions, when the temperature goes up to -50, so heating the room is a necessary requirement at that place. So the previously which were using those were just very crude type of Bukharis. So there were a lot of carbon monoxide in the room. There was a lot of wastage of heat in the room outside. So it was consuming too much kerosene oil. There were chances of blast, fire. So I thought that we should do something different. So I have a complete presentation on that.
Sure, sir.
So should I start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
I will just because when we discuss something with any person who say DRDO, so everybody is having impression that DRDO is having only missiles, tanks, but DRDO is having so many products. I'll just give you just name a few products.
Sure,
Just
sir. Sure, sir.
first I have a discussion presentation, then we can have. So my presentation is audible, visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So at the outset, I am thankful to Mr. Kamal for giving me this opportunity to interact with the students, the ignited minds of our country. So I'm going to discuss the technological solutions for soldiers under extreme environmental conditions, a DRDO perspective. So if it's when we say DRDO, the Defense Research and Development Organization, it is an R&D organization, the Ministry of Defense, everybody knows. And our vision is to empower India with the cutting edge defense technologies, with a mission to achieve the self-reliance in the defense technologies. In the wording of our respected Prime Minister, Atmanirbharta. And DRDO equips Indian Armed Forces with a state-of-the-art weapon system in accordance with the requirement of the armed forces. It was established in 1958 with about 10 laboratories, and today we are having about 50 laboratories. Total strength of the DRDO is about 2,000, 25,000, out of which 7,500 are the scientists working in the specialized technology domains. All these 50 laboratories are different, divided into different clusters. So for example, this aeronautical cluster, it is having products like light combat aircraft, airborne early warning control system, AWACS system it's called, Lakshya, pilotless aircraft for use for surveillance purpose, heavy drop systems, for example, we have to drop something from high altitude up to from the plane, up to 16 ton with different type of parachutes we can drop different type of items, even tanks or vehicles can be dropped. Combat free fall system, computerized pilot section systems, armament and combat systems means includes main battle tank, Pinaka weapon system, different type of bridge layer tanks, crevasse crossing bridges, INSAS weapons, rifles, LMG, grenade launchers, anti-tank mines, remotely controlled operated vehicles, remote robo sentry, missile systems. We know about Agni, Prithvi, Nag, Akash, Trishul, Astra, Brahmos. So many type of missiles are there with different ranges, different payloads, uh, warheads, and these are included in surface to surface, air to air, anti-tank guided missiles, interceptor missiles. Then electronics and communication includes many type of radars, night vision devices, radio communication systems. Naval systems include torpedoes, sonars, underwater acoustic systems. NBC system is nuclear, biological, chemical. Suppose there is a war, nuclear, biological. So what are the systems we can use for our protection? NBC mobile water purification system, casualty bags, decontamination suits, rocket dosimeters, NBC protective equipments. Similarly, life protection systems like bulletproof jacket, HEPA chamber, reusable face change material for heat packs, cool vest, survival blanket, all terrain water purification system, chemical agent monitors, different type of shelters, and we are also DRD working for the mission, different products for the mission Gaganyaan of ISRO. Then recently there was a mission Shakti that the DRDO is ISRO combined system, that is anti-satellite system. So all these systems include very precise things, very high calculations. Suppose you have to hit a missile which is moving about at 6,700 kilometers away at quite fast, and you have to hit it here from here. So how much precision you require? So all type of latest cutting edge technologies are included in this. So the past where I am working for the last 32 years, that is the Defense Institute of Physiology and Allied Sciences. This institute was established in 1962 after the China War. When our soldiers, they were inducted to high altitude, but they could not fight there. There were a lot of casualty. They couldn't fight. What was the main reason? To find that reason, this institute was established, and we found that because of the high altitude condition, high altitude, there are two main problems. Just at high altitude, there are two main problems. That is increase in the code as we go high. There is increase in the code. At the same time, there was reduction in the partial pressure. But that means the percentage of oxygen remains same, but the number of molecules, particular volume that goes down. So partial pressure of the oxygen decreases. So we consider the high altitude from 5,000, high altitude from 5,000 to 8,000, very high altitude. But in this case, the physiological effect starts from 8,000 onwards. And up to 8,000, there is no effect. Even your the commercial planes, they are also maintained at 7 to 8,000 because there is no side effect or no physiological effect up to 8,000 feet. From 11 to 18,000 feet, it is considered very high altitude, and from 18 onwards, it is considered extreme altitude. The problems are low atmospheric pressure, extreme cold, low humidity, high UV radiation, high wind velocities, and snow avalanches. And when we go to high altitude, there is a reduction in the hypoxia results in the deficiency of oxygen. Our spo2 level increases. So compared to compensate that, our body increases the respiratory rate, cardiovascular functions, heart rate increases, stroke volume increases, pulmonary vasoconstriction increases, and to compensate this, in the next 2 3 days, our body creates a more number of RBC and the plasma viscosity increases. So all these changes occur at high altitude. So when we say extreme altitude, we are concerned with extreme cold and hypoxic condition at high altitude, extreme hot and dry conditions in the desert, hot and humid conditions in the northeastern jungles, closed environments. So, for example, in submarines, hyperbaric conditions in the underwater conditions for divers. So, in the DPAS, our main research focus is to enhance the ability of the soldiers because soldier has to first he has to survive, he has to sustain, then he has to work efficiently, then he should have lethality also to fight. So, to increase all these in the extreme environments and for the combat mission, so, taking into consideration all these problems, the past has given acclimatization schedule because institute was established in 1962 because we are having a high altitude border right from the JNK up to Arunachal Pradesh. So these are all high altitude areas which where our soldiers are pointed deployed. So we have to fight. Now, not only we have to remain, those soldiers have to remain healthy, they have to fight also. So DPAS has given acclimatization schedule where depending upon his altitude of a deployment, he has to acclimatize for those days because body change, the changes comes in the body, so that person becomes normal after that. So depending upon if a person is about 4,500 meters, he has to acclimatize for 6 + 4 + 4, that is 14 days. He has to acclimatize, only then he can move further. Similarly, take into consideration all the physiological parameters. DPAS is given the tenure of posting. If a person is up to 4,000 meter, he can be posted for 24 months. And from 4,000, it is wrongly typed, from 4,000 to 4,800 meters, he can be appointed for 12 months, and above more 1,400, 4,800 meter, it's only for 12 weeks. For a person at Siachen top, he can't be appointed for more than 12 weeks.
Okay.
So these are just few photographs of the high altitude conditions which we go. These are not taken from the net. These photographs which I have clicked.
Okay.
These are the places where we go. We work. You
Okay.
can just imagine. Very cold, hypoxic conditions. When we go to about 18,000 feet, you can say the partial pressure is 50%. Your oxygen availability is 50% as compared to Delhi. And the temperature which I have faced is up to 30 minus 35. It goes up to minus 50.
Okay.
So when we say hypoxia and cold induced problems, first these are physiological problems. There is acute mountain sickness, then high altitude pulmonary. One has to acclimatize for those days. If he doesn't acclimatize for those days, he faces these problems. So he has to acclimatize. Acute mountain sickness, high altitude pulmonary edema, there is filling of water in the lungs, high altitude edema in the brain cavity, deep vein thrombosis, clots in the deep veins, cold injuries, frostbite, sleep and cognitive impairments. Then there are psychological problems. Person is isolated. He's having traumatic experiences because of all the problems. He's concerned about the family, worries for evacuation in case of emergency. Because sometimes even the because of bad weather, even the helicopter can't operate on those conditions. So he remains worried. What will happen if I get some emergency problem? So at the same time, there are many logistic problems also. There is always shortage of power supply because there is no power. Only source of power are generators, and they do not work efficiently due to less oxygen. Just like our body, oxygen also affect all the engines, whether you are car engine or generator engine. When you are not getting the proper oxygen, their efficiency also goes down equally. Then the battery efficiency also decreases. We have seen at many places that government has used the solar panels, but every time when we're asking what's they are working, they were saying no, it's not working. So what was the problem that we also try to solve that problem? Electronic circuits behave very differently at high altitude because if some component, some capacitor that is having airspace in between, so outside pressure is less, inside pressure becomes automatically more. So with circuit, the system would start behaving differently. The difficulty in supply of the fuel to the remote areas. The kerosene, which is small kerosene oil, which we get about in 100 rupees in Delhi or in nearby areas, when it reaches Siachen, it first goes to Chandigarh, then by IL-76, then by again by road, then by chopper. It costs more than 500 rupees liter. Can't
Oh,
imagine this. More than 500 rupees per liter. Taking into consideration all the aircraft chopper costs. Then the Bukharis emit carbon monoxide because of improper burning. They are getting not getting oxygen properly. Burning is not proper. Then there one more problem. There is a chaotic winds. There is after you can say about 2 o'clock. There's too much wind and they are very much chaotic. It suddenly changes direction. They will also lead to many accidents, which I will discuss. So taking into consideration, we try to develop, we have developed so many products. This is just list which I will discuss, and which is this is the main product, my very important product. Not only my product, it's very important product of the past. It has been patented. This is safe and efficient space heating device. We have named it Himtapak. These were the few designs of the previously Bukharis which were they were using, and on the this side, this is imported one. It is called Caro heater. But in this case, there was no exhaust system, so all the carbon monoxide produced that was remaining inside the room. So this is just a beautiful animation. So only the oil was coming with gravity and it was falling on a plate which was just preheated with the paper or something. Oil was vaporizing, but the main culprit is hot air. Air was coming from the top it and it was extinguishing. But the flow of water continues and vapors are forming. And suddenly, because its temperature it was red hot box, this container was red hot. It was its temperature was more than auto ignition temperature of the kerosene, so it was suddenly catching fire and leading to blast. So at the same time, there were so many leakages, so leading to the increase in the level of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide in the room. So when these were the problems, the gases very high temperature, relatively high, because rate was giving only radiative heat, and so physiologically harmful. By high temperature was harmful because that was leading to dryness. So because of improper burning, increased soot formation, lower efficiency, lot of heat was going out, economical losses, and it was consuming large amount of precious fuel. So we had a two-chambered blower design. Its outer chamber was for the all the gases were going out, and in a chamber we fitted a small fan, so all the air was coming inside. So it was using the just like AC that uses a room air for heating it up. It was using the room air. The room air was recirculating again and again, and within 15-20 minutes, room was becoming very comfortable. So this is a 3D view internal design. There is a heat exchanger. There were the plates which can break the impact of the wind also. At the same time, they are acting at heat exchanger. So About 7 8 years for reaching this prototype. There were 9 prototypes we made. Each prototype I was making here, going to Khardungla, about 18,380 feet height, and we were checking there because that is the highest motorway road in the world, and it is in the Leh sector. So we were going and testing it. So whatever the problem we were facing, we were coming back again, improving it, testing it again, going there. So about 7 8 years we took, and ultimately reached the prototype.
ओके सर, सो सर इसमें हम लोग कौन सा लाइक बर्निंग फ्यूल क्या यूज करते हैं?
Kerosene, because army is having only one fuel, kerosene. Previously they were using about 10 15 years back they were using coal also, but that was discontinued. At present, only fuel, because we try to ask for methanol also, but they're saying they only we want only one fuel. That is at present one fuel is kerosene. So next problem was how to stop the wind from coming down. So we thought of making a backdraft preventer. So because air was coming from any direction, so we thought of making a this type of designs which is having a lid on the top front, and it moves like a windcock. So it moves in the direction of the wind. But there were ball bearing and so many other parts which may not work there, because at I want to tell one thing, that at high altitude we should have things as simple as possible, because sometimes we are just for a small screw to suppose that is a Siachen base camp or Kardula top, which is a small problem. We have to come to Delhi or we have to come to Jammu and again go back. If there's some electronic circuit or some sensor thing, that may not work there, because temperature goes very low and pressure very low. So we made a different type of exhaust system which is not having any movable part. It works on the Bernoulli's principle. When the air comes from the side, this part stops. But when it comes from this side, from you can say from my side, we're going to deep in, and it creates a negative pressure here. So yes, instead of going down, it's great because of the negative pressure. It is set from the low with low. So even if you use a blower on the top, you even then you can't extinguish the flame below. So this design has also been patented. We got a patent also for this, and it can be used even for any type of bukhari. So now it is having a bukhari. It's having a burner. This pipe goes to the top out of the room, and at the top this is fitted. Now it is having level protection. There is a from this level, then there are plates which can suppose by chance this will not allow the air to come down. Suppose air come down, there are three plates here which will make the impact. Suppose if the burners get extinguished even then, so it's a weak burner which won't ignite itself. It is a work on the capillary action, so it will have to reignite it. So there is a triple level protection. There is no CO, and there is maximum heat has been extracted. I will show you the thermograph. This was in the previous Bukhari. With you can see the temperature of the exhaust pipe was 186 degree, but in this case it is 38 degree only. So maximum heat has been extracted in this case, and the whatever is the wastage from the reflected from the burner, that also remains in the room. So when we checked it, the efficiency of the Bukhari, it was more than 95%, which is theoretically you feel impossible. But whatever is the wastage you can consider in the your engineering language, but this wastage is adding to the room temperature. So only wastage was the little heat which was going out in the exhaust pipe. So there was no wastage at all. So this technology has been transferred to 19 firms. About 30,000 units have been procured by the BSF, Army, BSF, ITBP, CRPF, Air Force, etc. And we have incorporated all the changes which have been given by the suggestions by the dignitaries. You can see the General Rawat. He is himself has seen this Bukhari, and he has given many suggestions also which were incorporated. The one Bukhari, about 70,000 units are under process. Procurement is under process. One Bukhari saves about 10 liters of oil per day. So if we take into consideration that 350 days, not 365 days, in a year, so about 3,500 liters of oil is saved by one Bukhari. And we don't take into consideration 500 rupees liter. We take into consideration Delhi price, 100 rupees per liter. Even then, the saving by one Bukhari is 3.5 lakh, when its cost is about 25,000 only. So you can calculate the saving by 1 lakh units. It will be around 3,500 crores. Not only that, saving
That's
of
amazing.
preventing of accidents. At the same time, when this much oil is not burnt, you can save the environmental protection. One Bukhari saves about prevents about 1 ton of CO and about 0.3 ton of black carbon going into the environment, which is a great achievement. So this is the considered the star product of the device, and we have got two patents also, and this is considered the best product.
Okay, that's amazing, sir. Savings you guys are doing. Yeah.
There's
Yes, sir. So, um, when तापस बनाने के पीछे you started this project in DRDO or like you were taking the lead for that product or
yeah, this is my product.
okay sir so
The previously, which I mentioned, that was total DRDO products. After that, I am presenting a DPAS product. Out of DPAS, I am presenting my products.
okay
So
sir.
this is my product. It is patented in my name, and you can see the Dana Bipin Rawat. He is see the demonstration of Vikbakari. And after that, we were just having feeling that this 38-degree little heat is going out. So can we save that? So we made a compact design, the compact Bukhari, in where we use the horizontal heat exchanger. Heat
Hmm.
exchanger was in this, and just I forgot to tell you, this Bukhari is convective as well as radiative. All the previous Bukharis were only radiative, so we were getting heat on the from the front side and back side was getting cool. But in this case, complete room gets equally heated. Even the corners are complete room, just like your AC. It cools a complete room. But and this Bukhari heats the complete room. Not only the you have to sit in front of that. So we made a compact Bukhari where we use the horizontal exchanger, but at the same time we fitted a snow melting. You can say another attachment we made where we can put the snow and get the water.
Okay,
Because getting water at high altitude is also a very big problem because snow is plenty, but water is a problem. So that this water could be used for the drinking purpose, we made the outer shell with the stainless steel so that it just fill the snow and whatever little heat was going out in the exhaust pipe. So that is now used to get the water.
to get the water. Yeah.
So
Okay.
our next target was to can we have some shelter where Bukhari is not required at all because temperature is quite low, but solar energy is available in plenty at high altitude. So we thought that we should make a shelter where we can make one side totally transparent so that by greenhouse effect we can make it hot and it should be made of prefabricated so that it can be relocated and this side should be steep enough so that snow doesn't accumulate so that its side should be always be free and the power generation should be with solar panels so that it should be self-sustained shelter. We made this prototype installed at three high altitude locations. Sorry, I can't disclose the locations.
That's okay, sir.
So temperature data loggers we installed for hourly data we recorded for 1 year, and it has then also been patented. So when we found the data after 1 year, we took the
Hmm.
programs also. We checked where the leakages point where we use first. We use the glass for the windows. Then we again use the double walled polycarbonate sheet so that heat loss can be prevented from this. When we found the data, we found that during noon time, the temperature is touching more than 50 degree when the outside temperature is 2-3 degree only. It's
Okay.
more than 55 degree. So it was surprising that temperature inside was so much. So we in the further shelters we used in this vertical axis wind turbine also because the normal turbine that will because of the chaotic winds it will move into different directions. But this vertical axis when the wind comes from any direction it will move normally. So vertical axis. So when we saw the temperatures going so high, so in the future shelters, we use the phase changing materials so that this heat is trapped in the PCM and by evening hours when the temperature goes down, the sun goes down. So this temperature PCM heat could be used for the evening hours and night hours. So we calculated accordingly for the 18 hours. So that from evening to next day morning 6 7 o'clock, so then the temperature could be maintained this. So based on this, we have installed two shelters in the northeastern sector. This one is smaller shelter, and this one is, we call it for 2 men and 6 men shelters, because that depending upon the requirement they can be used. But in this case, we use the PCM, and with the solar panel we use the lithium-ion batteries. And previously, I just in the starting I told that the solar panels were not working properly, because the only mistake they were doing, they were keeping the batteries outside in a very low temperature. They were making a small box type structure and keeping the batteries inside. So by the time the temperature was going to sub-zero, so those lead acid batteries were not using, were working properly. First, we put the batteries inside the inside where the living. When we are living, we are somewhere. We will maintain the temperature about 15 20 degrees. So that when the batteries are inside, maybe in the separate enclosure, so that was working properly. So then we found that lithium-ion batteries, they are giving best performance at high altitude. So this, along with the solar panels, along with the lithium-ion batteries, PCM, and again the same patented design. Now these have been installed in the northeastern sector.
Great, great.
And next problem was, can we use the oxygen enrichment at high altitude? So what was the reason? Because I understood in the morning when the starting that oxygen hypoxic condition, that hypoxic, like less oxygen condition at high altitude lead to the reduction in SpO2 level. Now, after this corona, everybody knows about SpO2. Previously, not everybody was knowing. So
Yes,
SpO2 level was going down, that leading to problem that AMS, ACE, which I mentioned in starting. So for that, acclimatization schedule has been given, which is being followed by the army for in the both eastern and western sectors from Leh to Arunachal Pradesh, and that requires 14 days, which I told. But during emergency or war type situation, army personnel may not get the so much time, 14 days to acclimatize to reach that altitude. So we required something for rapid induction. What should be those strategies? So for in this case, we have just in January we have completed this project. So we have given three strategies. One is keep the soldiers at the moderate altitude, so that they are already at 7 8,000 feet, so that they can be inducted. They require less time to for acclimatization. Secondly, we can create the hypoxic conditions at the low altitude. Suppose in a room, we can create the hypoxic conditions, which I will show we have made. And third is by increasing the oxygen level in the room, we can create the simulated lower altitude. So there is a principle that if we increase the oxygen concentration by 1%, suppose you are sitting in a room with percentages naturally 21%. If I increase that percentage by suppose 5%, 21 to 26. This is not for low level, this is for high altitude. At high altitude, suppose you are at Leh at 11,000 feet. I increase that level from 21 to 26. By increasing 5%, you are not feel, the body will feel that you are at 5,000 lower level, just like you are at 6,000. So your body response will be according to that. Because when we go to high altitude, our body automatically triggers the response. Where we're having carotid body, which automatically detects that oxygen level is low, and all the changes, the body physiological reactions start. So ultimately, with experiments, we found that with 27 to 30% oxygen supplementation in a room is sufficient to maintain the SpO2 level to 92 to 94%, which is safe level. So which can be used for the emergency deployment of troops, unequalized air crew, because air crew, when they go to high altitude for some sortie or for passenger plane, if they stay there for more than 6 hours, they will have to undergo medical checkup. If he is found perfect only, then he can fly back. If he stays there for more than one day or one night, you can say, he is not allowed to fly back. Another pilot will go and bring the plane back. So in those cases also this can be used. Suppose some VIP goes there for short duration visit, and suppose there is some EMS case, the persons are having feeling that chopper may not be available. So in those conditions, a small enclosure with this oxygen supplementation can help him reach. So this was just one man hypoxic chamber, where the person who is having problem, just he can be allowed to just sit in this or lay down. it is having a zip that he can, if he uncomfortable, he won't have any claustrophobic effect. He can open and come down, come out at any time. There is this cylinder and a sensor come controller which can maintain the solenoid valve, which can maintain the 20%, 27% level inside. So that can, because it's smaller, it can save a lot of oxygen. It is a collapsible structure. Then we thought of making big rooms, oxygenated. We converted four facilities at high altitude into the oxygenated shelters, and we used the 40 lpm capacity oxygen concentrator which was installed, and it served the purpose of all these four facilities. In this case, this facility was for the Air Force pilots, and these all the cylinders will come into this facility for filling, and again they were used for this facility. This facility is being used for the last 10, 12 years for the pilots as well as for the army persons. Then for the solar shelters as well as oxygen shelters, we combined both these principles and made this solar power oxygenated shelter, which is installed in the Sikkim, which is meant for 50 persons. It is a modular structure. Its huge size, about 24 meter by 7 meters. It is having provision for sitting room, sleeping room, medical room, equipment room, toilets. It is having passive solar heating with double wall polycarbonate sheet at specific angle, which is our patented design. It is having puff panels for insulation, so that once the temperature is maintained inside, it can sustain for a longer period. It is having PCM for excessive heat storage, which can be used for the evening and night hours. Provision of oxygen, oxygenation of sitting room, sleeping room, depending upon the requirement. It is divided into three parts. The sleeping room is divided into two parts and one sitting room. So, depending upon requirement, one part can be, or all the three part can be used. Solar power generation with lithium batteries for better performance. There is a standby for 10 kVA DG set also. It is installed at the 16,000 feet. So this is the just layout plan. This is dormitory for 32 persons, sitting room, MI room. These are generator oxygen concentrators, oxygen block inverters, sewage treatment plant, wash basin, toilets. Everything is it is self-dependent system. This is just few photographs when it was under the installation. So this is a actual site where installed. You can see this small here. It is installed here. It's total barren. There's no greenery, only snow on all sides. So this is the sun-facing front side because it has to be heated with the solar energy. So it was there on the DRDO calendar in 2019. So back side view, steep side for inside sleeping room, oxygen concentrator, cylinder filling system, and these sensors and controllers to maintain the CO and oxygen level, CO2 and oxygen level inside, oxygen sensor and controllers, phase change material, solar panels, lithium-ion batteries, DG set, fire alarm system, sewage treatment plant. Everything is insulated, water tank, water heating system. Even the heat of the exhaust pipe of the generator we have used, because we made a jacket on the outside so that water goes inside and comes out, so that it's catches the heat, use the heat of this generator set also. Same facility we have created in the northeast also, which is with improved layout plan, and for to prevent the wastage of heat, we have front side we have now used put two polycarbonate sheet with 125 mm, so that there is less of heat loss. Now previously used 60 mm pump panel, now we use 80 mm pump panels, and in this case because now you use the PCM on the top as well as on the side corners, and these are totally separate panels, chambers with the air-to-air heat exchangers. We have used now ATF technology for oxygen, the advanced technology fractionators, and this filter has been used for vaccination purpose also in the last 6 months back. And this facility is at Changla, which is the highest terrestrial lab of the DRDO. It is in the Guinness Book of World Record. So we have installed this facility also that when you go to Leh, go to Pangong Lake, this comes in between. So there were many cases the persons were having the tourists were having the problem of oxygen there. So we have created one facility here also. So person can go there and sit there for some time. Even nasal cannula is there, so can have the oxygen directly. But in this case, instead of using that oxygen concentrator, which gave 93% of medical grade oxygen, because we have to down it again, dilute it again to 27 to 30%. So in this case, we have created a generator set which used produces only 40%, so that the flow is increases. So it produces only 40%. So in this case, we use that technology, and that is working quite fine there. Then we are working on the person oxygenation system also. You must be thinking that a person has to acclimatize. If he is getting the oxygen going there immediately, he is not acclimatized. He can stay there and in the oxygen chamber. By the time he goes out for some operation, he can have it with portable oxygen system, so that when he goes out, he's not having that problem. And first, we use the carbon composite cylinders, which can tolerate the pressure up to 300 bars. Normal cylinders they are up to 150 bar. So its capacity is only 2 liter, but pressure is up to 300 bars, so that he's having 600 liters gas with him. So depending upon his requirement, he can adjust the flow from 0.5 liter to 2 liter. And with the nasal prong, he can which he using only during the inspiration. He can save at that time also. So when the soldiers moved from the Siachen base camp to forward post, so it can help in minimizing the mobility, reducing the time for extent, and improving the load carrying capacity. Because the cylinder has to be refilled again and again. So for that, it has to come down the base level where the your generator is installed. So now we are working on the portable oxygen concentrators, so that it requires only battery, only which can be charged with the solar energy also. So at present, we are working on that. So we are working on the improved inflatable tents also. The tents which can be installed within 5 minutes, it can get erected, and we want to make it double layered so that air insulation is there, and transparent top for again for steam solar energy, insulated floor for comfort even from the lower side. So these can be used for installing the mobile facility immediately on the emergency conditions, where we can have a portable oxygen small concentrator along with this, so that immediately it can create some sort of hospital or mobile facility there. So for that, we are working on this also. This one prototype we have developed. Then I was telling that the normal break hypoxia chamber, where we can create the hypoxia facility at lower level. If, so in this case, if we expose a person to over for 4 days for at FiO to 12%, he can just have to sit inside and do whatever he wants. He remain on mobile, he watch TV, movie. So he has to just sit inside. So at that time, when he reaches the high altitude natural condition, he don't require 6 days, 4 days. 2 days we are saving. So based on this, we have created these big facilities, which are meant for about 50% at Chandigarh and Bagdogra, and these have been inaugurated, and they are in use. So suppose we are having some feeling that maybe in 10 days we may require some about from 5,000 soldiers. So we can train them in 4 hours batches here for 4 days. After that, they are ready to move to high altitude. Then another problem was, I just told, snow. So snow was there. There is a lot of snow is there, but water is not there. The army persons, they take the snow, they melt it on the kerosene stoves and get the water. So that was consumed again kerosene, which is, I told you, very precious. So we made a solar snow melter. So this is so we worked with the we took the thermograms and to made different type of pockets. Ultimately found the smaller pockets, which cause it. In this case, we get the heat from all the sides. So we tested it at high altitude, about 3,500 feet at Kharunungal also, and this is again patented, and patent has been not granted. The application has been accepted. Then I told you that hot so heat is available, but in the oxygen enclosures we can't use the Bukhari. So we need some sort of system where we can use the solar energy. So we started with the this type of, so that there is a heat exchanger. We he take the room air, heat it, and inside to send it inside. We tried so many designs. Ultimately, we made this type of design where we use this type of pipe, copper pipe, which is having spirals on the top, which increase the heat to too much. So in this case, room air is with the help of blower that comes into this. It's a panel with pipes, which is colored converted to black color. So when it again reaches inside, its delta T is 85 degrees. So it's just a small 50-watt blower, but the room air gets heated in few minutes because the same room air is circulated again and again when with the delta T of 85 degrees. So without consuming very little of energy, we are getting very good results. And these are also have been installed at many places. Then solar water heating system. You must be thinking these are quite available in the market. So why we are working? These are quite you're you must be thinking, right? It's available in the market and based on the it's working on the thermosiphon principle. But at high altitude, when the temperature goes to minus 20, minus 30, all the water freezes in the pipes. So they are at that time they are useless. So we have made a hybrid system so that during the summer it works like a normal water heating system. But during the winter, we have made a special type of tank so that these the middle layer it's having the you can say antifreeze liquid propylene glycol plus glycerol which was mostly used in the car coolants. So this fluid is circulated in this so that the water inside, outside it is off panel. Then this fluid transfers the heat into the water, transfer heat to the water, so that in water is not flowing in the pipes now. Now this fluid is flowing down, so that is transferring the heat to the water, so that it can be used for the in the summer also. It can be used in the winter also. Then there was problem of water storage. I got a request from the army that keeping the water in the liquid form is again a problem. Water can't be kept in liquid. We got the water from the solar storm matter, but how to keep it liquid? So we supplied this type of tank, which is having puff panel of 100 watt, and whatever little air inside is coming when the water we are taking out. So that part we have heated with the solar energy. It is having a solar panel. It is having a lithium battery of 1 kilowatt. It is having heaters plumbing system, heaters heating element of 45 watt to compensate that heat loss. So that now it is keeping water up in the liquid form even at minus 40 degrees centigrade. It's working. Has been installed at many places at high altitude. And then during the COVID time, used to develop ultrasonic foggers, many type of this UV sanitizers, heat-based sanitization system, so that it's installed in one of the police station of Delhi, and they were using it for their canes, their dresses. Then we have in the DePass. No, this is not my product. This is the product of one of my colleague, and it was under my project. I was the project director of that project, and what the PI was different. It is a backpack based on the requirement of the army. It is based 70 liter, 90 liter capacity. It is ergonomically designed so that the person when he use this pack, he's not having so much pressure on his body. He's not having so much tired. He's not fatigued. There is better balancing, stability, mobility, and the patent has been granted and the technology has been transferred to 9 firms available on the gem also. There is a integrated hydration pack also so that 1 liter water can be stored. Their rifle can be within inside. There are different packs for the ammunition also. It's very much comfortable and very much liked by the BSF, Army, all the forces. Then the whole body protector. Anywhere in the world, the most of the body protectors are for the males. And when the females were using, it's not suiting their anatomy. So it's first time of its kind that a female whole body protector has been developed by the DPAS, and it can be used for not its own bulletproof, but can be for you, but for all other purpose it can be used, mainly for the rights purpose. And during the field conditions, there is lot of noise, but at the same time they have to hear the instructions also. So earplugs have been developed where in this case they can hear the noise, but they can hear the command of their seniors. But during the strong sound, impulsive noise, the firing of gun or firing of some blast, so at that time it will protect the ears. But at this is now ear defender with active noise cancellation, so that it can be used for many other purposes where we have to get the command clearly. For the desert conditions, there are two main problems. One is the too much heat, 50 the desert conditions temperature goes to 55 degree. They are having lot of sweat. So first is the replacement of all the salts which were going out of the body. So for that purpose, this dip sip has been taken into consideration all the salts. So this has been made in different flavors, orange flavor, lychee flavor. So that replenishes all the salts. And this is a man-mounted cooling system. See, this is particularly a system where a thermoelectric module has been used, and there is a chargeable battery pack. It can be fitted in the belt. So two pipes can be fitted here. One it's a closed circuit loop which is fitted on the pipes are fitted on the vest. So same air is circulated. Sorry, it comes air takes air from the outside and cools it, because when we provide the heat temperature current to the peltier, the thermoelectric module, one side is hot, one side is cold. So hot air passes from the cool side and that gets cooled and goes inside. So when we feel sometime when we are sitting in the hot condition, we use like this. It's just a small heated air, cool air gives us relief. So in this case, they are sitting inside the tank, or they are having when they're sitting in the condition where temperature is more than 55. So it gives it's very much relief to them. So these two problems, one is the salt solution replenishment, and then only this cold condition. At the same time, DePass is also working on the nutritional skills for the armed forces. So whether they are at high altitude, they are in the war condition at high altitude, also lower altitude, extreme altitude, depending upon their physical activity, their requirement. So nutrition skills, whatever ration the army soldiers are getting, that is decided by the DePass. Their anthropometric data for their dresses, ergonomic inputs for designing for the cockpit designing, for the designing of the inside of the tank. So all this ergonomic input is given by the DePass. For yoga studies, even for the high altitude conditions, for the you can say submarine conditions, for different altitude, for hot conditions, everything, even for the you can say Gaganyaan, different type of yoga packages have been made by the DePass. In the DePass, we don't do yoga just like normal Swamiji, but we do yoga along with we take all the physiological parameters, how much oxygen is being consumed, how much other parameters, biochemical parameters are changing. So all the scientific studies, based on that, we give the yoga packages. So there are many herbal products for increasing the performance and cognitive functions at high altitude. All those we are working. For example, aloe vera is best one of the cream. Aloe vera cream, aloe calories. It is used for the frostbite. Then toxicity study in the field conditions. Some their ammunition is being used. So what are the harmful fumes it is giving? So all these studies we are doing. How much fumes are there in the tank cupola where one person is sitting? So that then noise mapping. So that accordingly we can use the protective mechanisms. Extreme weather clothing, minus 20 degree, minus 30 degree, minus 50 degree. So their sleeping bags, their dresses, all this we are doing. Then genomics and proteomics approaches for high altitude problem. Can we have some solutions so that a person before going to high altitude we can see that this person can have problem there. So based upon the previous data we are using, and then you can say time will come, then everybody will have a sport just like your credit card. You will have his gene card. A time will come so that his complete profile will be on that system on that card. And then heat physiology division is there. We have the cardiorespiratory, because when we go to high altitude, we are having cardiorespiratory problems. Our heartbeat increases, blood pressure increases, respiratory increases. Then there is a neurophysiological studies are going on. Fatigue monitoring system. The pilot is too much tired. A system is there taking into he has to just play some game. and depending upon his working system will tell that this person is fit to fly or not. Then Antarctic expedition. Every year our team goes to Antarctica. When in every expedition, then we are working on the gut flora, probiotics. Gut flora is very important. That's why we sometimes say I have. It's considered as second brain. That's why we sometimes say now we are having gut feeling. So that word has come from this one. Then we have worked, made a COVID antibody detection kit also. Then nitric oxide delivery system also for the HAPE. This is a human decompression chamber at high altitude pass where we can simulate the conditions of any altitude, any low temperature. We can create average condition here. We can create any altitude up to suppose 50,000 where that is not for human beings. Suppose we want to check some system also, some circuit also for that. So it can create up to 50,000 minus 50-degree temperature. We can simulate those conditions. Similarly, we are having human climatic chamber. We can create hot humid conditions, hot dry conditions, and desert conditions, coastal conditions, jungle conditions. So all conditions we can simulate here. So before going to actual conditions, we simulate those conditions here in the lab. Then we can go to the actual conditions to do the experiments. So this is my team. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. It was a great presentation, actually. And I have some questions, but before that, there's one question from Mahima, actually. She
Sure,
is
sure.
asking कि हम DRDO में कैसे enter कर सकते हैं? How we can get into DRDO? And the second question is how IT sector is revolutionizing the DRDO.
First, I will just tell her that there is a recruitment and assessment center, which all they give advertisements on the newspapers also in the on the your net also. So whenever there are posts, so there is a advertisement. Just to get connected to RSC site, RSC Recruitment and Assessment Center. So depending upon your qualification, if you are a BTech or if you are having MSc or PhD, so depending upon your qualification, you can come as directly as scientist B, which is a class one gazetted post, or if you are having MTS or the 12th ITI, you can enter from the lower side also. That is the technician post you can enter. So that the gradually then you will rise. There are two type of cadres: DRDS Defense R&D Services and DRTC cadre, Technical Services cadre. So depending upon your qualification, you can enter accordingly.
Okay, sir, just one request. Can you close that presentation window? So,
Sure, sure.
yes.
So you are not having any question from the presentation, I can close
Yes,
it.
yes. So we'll ask. Okay. So in case of tapas and the other heat products you mentioned, so what is the delta T, like solar one as well? Delta T in general कितना रहता है इन सब products के लिए?
Then in this Bukhari, you can say that
Yes, जो जैसे आपने products बताए थे, तापस एक product आपने
yeah,
बताया
him
था.
tapper. That is
Yes.
that is for meant for the human use where we are sitting. It's designed having such a way that temperature goes to 25 to 27 degree, which is the maximum physiologically comfortable temperature. Previously, they were when they were using that normal radiative Bukhari, so they were having feeling that they have to come and stand in front of that because it was only radiative. So on the front side, heat was coming and back side was cooling. So they were turning like this and like this. So at that time, they were making it red hot. So because of that, it was causing dryness also because it was consuming a lot of humidity also. So now we have made it to physiologically comfortable temperature, 25 to 27 degree. Even so, whatever temperature we use for your ACs. So when it is too hot, you bring it to 25 degrees. So that is the maximum comfortable temperature. So it goes up to 25 degree. So, but at the same time, you are having control also. You can increase or decrease the heat also. Just take a normal burner, you can control the heat. You are feeling it's getting too hot, you can reduce it.
Okay, okay, okay. There's a system to reduce it as
There
well.
is a system to control it.
Okay. And sir, the another question from Mahima was IT sector DRDO प्रोजेक्ट्स में क्या रोल अभी, लाइक व्हाट इज द रोल ऑफ आईटी सेक्टर इन DRDO प्रोजेक्ट्स?
आईटी सेक्टर का रोल कहाँ नहीं है?
दैट्स ट्रू, दैट्स ट्रू.
वो तो it will always be there, but there are few labs which are working only on the, you can say, this type of work for the, you can say, the critical signals and signal which we are getting from the other countries, how to decode those signals.
Yes.
So many type of signals are there which we have to decode. So few labs which I can't name here. So these are working on those. So there
Okay.
are labs which are concerned with only with the, when there are labs which are working on artificial intelligence. There are labs which are working on the simulation, machine learning. But at some of the places, like we are doing with extreme environment, we can't go to the so much detail. We can't. We have to have the system as simple as possible. There was a requirement from the one of the senior army officer that your shelter is getting too much heated up. So can you do something? Sir, you park your vehicle in the sunlight. It gets too much heated. What you do? I open the window. So same thing in the window we have provided. Just open it. So can't it be sensor based? Well, it can be sensor based. It can open. But when the temperature goes to minus 30 degree, there is a snowfall. There is, so sensor may or may not work. The system motor will be jammed. So we have to keep it as simple as possible. So for those conditions, there was time. Now the laptops and mobiles have improved. When there was time, our laptop was not working at when we were going to 18,000. It was not working. So we were used to keep it near the Bukhari for a few hours. Then the temperature was coming to normal, and even then it was starting. When we're going to high altitude for some experiments, we were staying there for months. First 2 3 days we used to spend on making the systems normal. All the electronic systems were behaving totally differently. Previously, when we were going to high altitude in 1994, there was no mean of communication. We were from Sikkim, Bangkok, we were going up, and we were consuming about 1 day to come down to Gangtok just to make a phone call to our family for half a minute. Now, because of this mobile revolution, life has changed. So that has helped our soldiers also. That help now they are connected with their families. Now we can discuss with the results online. Now we are having telemedicine systems. So all this revolution has come with all this technology. Now telemedicine system is there. Some soldiers having problem at high altitude. So doctor just he will analyze. The technician will all the analyze, and he will send the via satellite. He will send to the doctor at Delhi or at Bombay, which is the nearest point. So he can consult with the report. He can consult those. So there is a lot of role.
Yeah, definitely IT sector has a lot of role. At the same time, solutions बहुत simple बनाने जरूरी है कि वो
Yeah.
work करें extreme conditions में.
Yeah.
Uh, there's one question from Vandana Narwani. She's asking, sir, जो soldiers हैं वो कितना temperature difference experience करते हैं?
ये तो मैंने अभी आपको दिखाया है सोल्जर की लाइफ के बारे में जब आप सोचो जस्ट थिंक अबाउट द लाइफ ऑफ द सोल्जर व्हेन ही इज एट हाई altitude he has to go up to minus 50 degree. Of course we will provide them accordingly shelters, we will provide them with the sleeping bags, we provide them with the dresses which can minus 30 minus 50 extreme weather brother. Same persons when go to Jaisalmer, he is facing plus 55 degree but dry heat. And the same soldiers when go to northeastern sector, he is having a high temperature at the same time lot of humidity. So we don't understand the problem of the soldiers, but so how much problems they are facing. So we are working on the habitability. We are trying to make their life comfortable. So I told you in the beginning that when I was going there, I was doing my experiments for biochemical parameter. I was at that time I was a reproductive physiologist. I was checking the what is the effect of high altitude on the reproductive capacity, reproductive system of the human beings, and how much it time it takes to if there is any negative effect or any adverse effect, you can say. So how much time it takes to come to normal level? It's called de-induction studies. So I was doing biochemical all the parameters, but at the same time I was thinking, yeah, they are so many facing so many problems. What can we do to make their life comfortable? So suppose we go to some other city. If our stay is comfortable, hotel is very good. Our work will be different. Suppose we are staying in a worst condition. Or similarly, if they are staying in a good condition, they can perform better. Their stay is comfortable, their room is comfortable, aesthetically very good. So that makes their efficiency more.
Yes, and I would say कि ये required भी है जब हम लोग comfortably रह रहे हैं they have the right to
They have
decide
also
to do
had
like
the
that.
right, but conditions are that because right from the light to the heat, everything is generator based. So that's why we're thinking that because solar energy is available, so we should try to use solar energy as much as possible. So that's why solar shelters, solar snow melter, solar hot air blower, solar water heating system. So we have made a range of products which are based on solar energy.
So there's one more question sir from Mahima. I have one question as well पर मैं महिमा का पहले पूछता हूँ. So thank you so much sir. I also want to ask that what are the procedures to get into those labs and work on projects? जो आपने labs के बारे में बताया, what is the procedure
Uh,
for that?
yeah, if you are doing your BTech, you are having some training part also for 6 months or a few months. So we a lot of students come to our labs. They take some small projects. We out of our project we give just small project depending on his time. 1 month, 6 months. So accordingly we give small projects so that his work is also completed and we also get some help. So they can approach you and you can contact me.
Okay. Uh, and one more thing, सर सिंपल मेरा एक क्वेश्चन ये था कि एनर्जी के लिए वी आर यूजिंग टू थिंग्स कैरोसिन एंड
Yeah,
सोलर इज देयर एनी अदर रिसोर्सेज वी आर थिंकिंग अबाउट और वी आर ट्राइंग
wind,
विंड
wind, wind energy. I have told you that vertical axis wind turbine we have used because that can be used because the most of the winds are at surface winds also they can use. It need not be so much high. It need not be because the horizontal axis that changes direction according to the winds, and winds are very much chaotic. They suddenly changes direction in the wind get affected from the mountains and changes the direction. So in those cases the vertical axis wind turbine is quite successful at high altitude. And this type of because every time you should have some ideas in your mind. So whenever I move on the roads, I see the small plants in between the roads. They are having so much wind because they're moving, because vehicles are moving from both sides. Even small vertical axis wind turbines can be used on those. They can generate powers for the street lights. They can use power for the other purpose also. In sequence for hundreds of kilometers, we can use those wind turbines. Because vertical axis wind turbine, then air comes from any direction. It will move in same direction. So
ओके
wind is used then at present solar we are working on a maximum and wind is number two, you can say.
ओके
Kerosene is मजबूरी है. There is no other source.
यस यस यस
Minimize the use of we want to minimize the use of kerosene because that is adding to the carbon in the atmosphere.
एंड लॉजिस्टिक्स इश्यूज एज वेल
Logistic issues are very much there.
यस यस यस
And when it is dropped at the Siachen top, it is dropped by the helicopter. Sometimes the barrels fall at places where they can't be even traced. So there are a lot of issues.
यस सर एंड आई थिंक guys, do you have any other question? अगर आपका कोई question नहीं है, then we can end this call. And sir, like आप अगर कुछ share करना चाहते हैं, how these guys can connect with you if they want, you can please share.
Pardon?
अगर आप चाहते हैं कि ये लोग आपसे कनेक्ट कर सकें, अगर आप किसी सोशल चैनल पर हैं, लिंक्डइन पर हैं, अगर आप इंस्टाग्राम पर हैं।
You are having my WhatsApp number, so they can connect, call me, or they can send a message. So
Uh,
whenever free, I can call them back. You can send a message also.
I'll share your email ID with these people,
You can
and
share
yes, and if they are interested, they can contact you.
sure, no problem.
Yes, yes. I'm just sharing it. I think sir, you had a great time. आपको कैसा लगा ज्वाइन करने के बाद पॉडकास्ट?
Hey, because I am not unable to see the students, but I am feeling that they must have gained something, or they if they are having some good idea. Now they understand the problems. At high altitude, we are having problems, cold, hypoxia. At the desert conditions in the eastern sector, so we know that our soldiers are facing these problems. If they can have some good suggestion, because sometimes BTech and Tech students come to us, they sometimes they give very good suggestions. So it can be done like this. So if they having good suggestions, which we can implement, so they can give those suggestions also. Because those are now we are near retirement. Those are young bloods. They are ignited minds. So you are doing very good jobs that you are doing better for them. So thank you so much for you also for giving me this opportunity to interact with those ignited minds.
थैंक यू सो मच सर फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस, एंड आई होप जो भी लोग इस वीडियो को बाद में भी देखेंगे, दे विल गेट इंस्पायर्ड एंड दे वुड रियली वांट टू जॉइन आवर डिफेंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड इवन डिपास एज वेल। जिस तरीके से आप सोल्जर्स की लाइफ को इम्प्रूव कर रहे हैं,
Every
दैट्स
every
वेरी
li- every life is doing its own type of work. I have
ट्रू
just
सर।
given the work of the past. Every life there are more than 50 lives, and they are
Yeah, we all want to contribute something to our country. In general, सब लोगों का ऐसा होता है, तो they might get motivated through this video कि DRDO से जुड़कर हम किस तरह के वर्क कर सकते हैं exactly. And guys, one more thing, to basically get the e-certificate for this webinar, the link will be in the description. आप description में जाकर link को देख सकते हैं. And for the next webinar, for the next webcast, we'll again meet on this channel only next Sunday at 11 a.m. sharp. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us, and thank you so much, sir.
thank you so much once again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.